What is going on, everyone? We are here with another episode of the Spotlight series hosted by yours truly, ACK. Y'all know the drill at this point is Sundays, 1 p.m. Eastern. We got new music, new stories, new artists. Never know who's going to pop through. And today I welcome Seth Alexander to the show. Seth, how are you today, man?
Man, I'm doing so great. Thank you for having me on the show. It's such a blessing.
No, of course. I mean, it really just helps me out a lot when artists just want to sit here and take time out of their day to talk to me and talk about their story through music. Because at the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's about talking about your journey, where it all started, where it's kind of going, and what you're doing, and then kind of what your future holds. So I just appreciate you taking time out of your day to do this today.
Yeah, no, for sure. Definitely.
Yeah, so kind of really just hopping right into the first question. It's always the basic of basics and really kind of just sets up the whole interview is where did everything kind of start for you singing and playing wise? Because I know for some people it starts at such an early age, the day they were born, they start humming nursery rhymes and stuff like that. But then someone like myself who really only started the whole songwriting and producing aspect of things in 2018, so that was only 5 years ago. So it's always kind of cool to see how people really start in music. But for you, where did everything kind of come about?
Yeah, man. No, I think it's definitely different for everyone and I wish, certain things for myself and my own music career, but for me, it started out when I was 6. So my grandfather gave me my first guitar and said, "Okay, son, you know what to do with it," and passed away 2 short weeks after that. So that's just always been instilled in my heart. So when I was 12, I started writing poems, and then when I was 16, I turned them into songs. So songwriting has always been a big aspect of my life. It's a way of telling a story and telling the truth at the same time. So it started for me when I was 6.
Yeah, no, and that's awesome, man. I mean, like, honestly, obviously, sorry for your loss and stuff like that when that happened, because I really connect with that because a lot of people know is back in 2018 when I started everything. I had just lost my grandfather at the beginning of 2018, and that's really how the whole songwriting process and producing aspect of things started for me. Is I wrote that my first ever song about him is called Back to When. And that's just really how music started for me. So it's always cool and really special to see how people start singing and playing because you can listen to a lot of these artists out there and be like, oh yeah, they have some cool songs out and stuff like that. Like I like them, but to me, it's really fascinating to see how they start and really how their upcoming was in the music industry.
Exactly, exactly. And it's cool because we all go through the same things. It might be a little bit differently, but when you and I both write a song, we're able to portray it in a way that we can all understand it. And trust me, man, when you're singing it at a show and you see that girl smiling at you in the front row, it makes everything worthwhile. When you see the crowd singing with you, when you see that guy holding up a sign that says "You inspire me," that's what it's all about, man.
Exactly. And I mean, that's just that inspired and inspirations is really what draws me into the music scene because I mean, it kind of leading into this next question is I could sit here and I tell people all the time, I could just have a podcast about inspirations. Like like I have more inspirations in the music industry than I know what to do with. And I mean, I always say is Chris Daughtry. I know he's a rock and roll artist, but one of my all-time favorite artists and a huge inspiration from him. But then kind of like getting into country music. Obviously, you'll know a few of these artists is like Travis Tritt, Garth Brooks, Tim McGraw, Kenny Chesney, Alan Jackson, just all of the I could go on for hours talking about these people, but kind of for you is who were some inspirations that kind of you really looked up to like when you were first starting in music and just to like kind of now is who are some people that you really kind of draw inspiration from?
Yeah, man. So definitely same as yourself. I love '90s country. I mean, I'm I like today's country. But it's always nice to go back to what you know. For me, an inspiration would have been Keith Whitley for sure. No, I loved his deeper voice. I loved how when he sang, people just sat there and listened because his voice was just so attractive. Garth Brooks, of course, George Strait, two of the main ones, and then of course you have some like way back Ernest Tubb. I don't
Mhm.
know if you remember him.
Yep.
Yeah, so Ernest Tubb, and then like today, definitely have some good inspirations for today. It would be Luke Combs, Dustin Lynch. I always like to say I'm like Garth, but just with different lyrics. So when I perform, I'm always jumping around up on stage, have high energy. So I take more than just their vocals. I take how they songwrite and how they perform.
Yeah, no, and that's awesome. And I mean, a lot of these artists that we've named too are just super, super talented songwriters. I mean, the lyrics behind songwriting is really what drives me to an artist. If you can sit there and tell a story from start to finish, then and like just be able to sit there, close your eyes and picture that song like that, at the end of the day, that's what I love for an artist. Like I love the lyrics behind it. I mean, you can write so many great songs, and at the end of the day, is if you can connect with that one or two people compared to connecting with a million people, then I feel like that's really what makes a good songwriter is if you can connect with that kind of people. And it's kind of leading into this next question is always my favorite question is the creative process. There is no rhyme or reason, probably as you know, and as any artist knows, there's no rhyme or reason to how a song gets written. I mean, it can happen at 1 a.m., 1 p.m., and it kind of comes from all different places. But kind of for you, man, is what is your creative process like when it comes to creating music?
So I'm like, one moment I'll be talking about one thing, and the next I'll be talking about another. So that's kind of how my head works. I'll be driving down the road listening to like a sad song, and then all of a sudden I'll think of a happy song to write, or vice versa. And then for me, I like to write around like 10 in the morning, and then I also like to write around 10 to 2 o'clock at
Yeah.
night and morning as well. So my creative process is just, drumming up an idea, writing down a few lines. If I like it, I keep going. If I don't, then I switch. But I always save all of my song ideas in either Google Doc or like a big folder that I write in.
Yeah. No, and that's awesome. And I mean, I always do have to ask too. You probably have tons and tons of voice memos too on your phone, obviously, right? Because artists that really don't mention voice memos, it's just like if you don't have stuff like that, then I don't know what you're doing as an artist, honestly.
Yeah, no, I think I need to go get my memory updated.
No, trust me, I feel that. It's just because the songwriting process is just like I said, it's so crazy. There's no rhyme or reason to it. I mean, you could be cruising down a two-lane road, just jamming out to some music, and then all of a sudden, bam, it hits you. Or, I mean, sometimes for me, it's happened. Like I'm just in the shower getting ready for work, and bam, like that line just like comes to me out of nowhere. And like I'm just like, really out of all times, like right now is when it's going to start coming. And then like you got to just run to your phone, write it all down or record it real quick. And then
Yeah,
sometimes you even go back to it sometimes like years after because you forget about it and you're like, what the hell was I thinking? Or sometimes you go and listen to it and you're like, oh damn, like what was I thinking? Like this is actually something good that I can use.
yeah. Well, okay. Well, first off, when you're in the shower and singing, the acoustics are freaking amazing.
That is also true.
And secondly, man, here's the thing. I think everyone's a rock star in the shower and in the car. And if you don't write that song, I'm going to.
No, that is 100% the case. I mean, like I said, people that know me is I'm a songwriter at heart. If I start singing, glass will start breaking and stuff. But check me out in the car, and the acoustics in the bathroom sometimes are top notch. But other than that, anywhere else, I'll be breaking glass, and people will start running away. But yeah, no, the songwriting process is just really cool, man. And I mean, getting to the fourth question now is always it's my second favorite question on the show, but it's always the hardest question that I do ask because it really gets the wheels turning and it really gets the artist thinking about this question is there are hundreds and thousands of artists out there nowadays trying to make a name for themselves and promoting themselves on social medias like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and then you have your streaming platforms like Spotify and Apple Music and stuff like that. So I mean, obviously, as an artist, to get your name out there and fight with a million different artists that are doing the same exact thing, it's hard to really just say, hey, this is who I am. This is what I'm doing. So, kind of at the end of the day, is what makes you you compared to some of these other artists, and what can we take away from your music that we're not going to find in other artists' music?
Wow. Deep. All right, here we go. So honestly, man, for me, it's just being true to who you are. I always like to think about being different and unique. And of course everyone does, and that's why I truly believe we have all these different genres and different sounds and whatnot. But at the end of the day, if I'm true to who I am and my music, people will gravitate towards it. They can always when you're up on stage and you're singing a song, if you feel it, the crowd will feel it. So, for me, I honestly just try and stay true. As far as like my writing and stuff, I feel like I have to live it to write it.
Yeah.
So, like with Till Your Boots Are Dirty. So I grew up in a small farm town. It was New Plymouth, Idaho, only 3 blocks of city, no stoplight, and 2 stop signs.
Yep.
So Till Your Boots is Dirty really hit me when I came into town because that's who I was. That's who I am.
Yeah, no, and that's awesome, man. I mean, it just like I said, I mean, if you can just be true to yourself and be true and authentic when you're writing your lyrics and stuff like that, then at the end of the day, that's really who you are and that's what you are. I mean, you have a couple of songs out on Spotify and then obviously your new one's coming out in March and stuff like that. So it's really, really cool. And you can just hear that in your lyrics that you're just being true and authentic to yourself. And that's what I think honestly makes you a great artist.
Well, thank you. That means a lot to hear that. I'm very blessed to be working with the team I have. I like to think I can compose a team of sharks. And just every month, every 3 months, we're putting out a single and a music video, and just gonna keep them coming out.
No, and that's awesome. And that's kind of leading into the last question here is talking a little bit about your future and what some of your short term and long term goals are, and just kind of what else we can expect down the road from you.
Yeah. So definitely. So well, I played my first show the other day, and I sold all of my merch. So I know my future plans is going to be ordering some more merch. And then starting in March, I'm booking out every weekend to go travel around and play shows. I got shows in New Mexico, Texas, Arkansas, and Tennessee, and then I got 2 up in Ohio, Florida, and a couple in Georgia at the moment. So definitely touring, definitely songwriting. I have 18 radio ready singles, but I'm still gonna keep writing and still, if there's one that I like better, I'm gonna put it before the ones I have going out now.
Yeah.
You never you know. But yeah, no, definitely just touring and growing the fan base. Why? Because I feel like I have a voice that needs to be heard.
No, absolutely, man. And I mean, I love what you're doing in the music. I mean, you didn't mention Boston, so I mean, you got to come up here to Boston at some point and start playing some shows so I can check that out. But
Yeah, okay. I got you, because I have a friend down there too, and she's like, "Hey, Seth, you need to get up here." Well, I'm going to do that now.
yeah, no, you got once you come up to Boston, man, I will be there right in the front row jamming out to whatever you're singing. I mean, you're a super talented artist and I look forward to this new song coming out in March and I just look forward to what else is going to happen for you down the road because I love what you're doing and I just can't wait to see what big things happen for you.
Thank you, man. I greatly appreciate it. I couldn't do it without you. You're putting me out there, and I love your podcast and everything that you're doing. So please keep it up because not only does it help others, but inspires me to keep going.
And I appreciate that more than you know, man. Like just that's what drives me to keep doing this every single day is artists that just love coming on, telling their story and just appreciate just sharing their story and talking about music and because making those connections in the music industry is really what is super super powerful at the end of the day.
Yep, yep, I agree.
So kind of getting to the final part, which is always my favorite part of the interview, is hearing some music. Obviously, it's going to be your newest single that's coming out in March, Till Your Boots Are Dirty. Kind of before we take a little listen to that, is if you want to give us a little background on how this song kind of came about. I know you had mentioned it a little bit earlier, but just where did this whole song kind of come about for you?
Yeah, so this was the only song I did not write out of all the songs that I have put out. So when I first came to town, I met this guy. His name's Richard Donahue, and he's my producer. But Till Your Boots Is Dirty is also a co-writer. Billy Croft is another one. They actually wrote the song for.
Mhm.
And then ah shoot, I'm trying to remember his name. He would kill me if I didn't say his name. The guy who wrote Check Yes or No for George Strait also wrote this song as well. And when I first heard it and it got pitched to me, it made me feel like I was back home again. It made me feel like I could sing about home, being away from home and feeling at home, if you know what I mean. So it's just about, helping people out, getting your boots dirty. A country boy gets dirty, a country girl gets dirty. So that's what the song's about, is getting dirty and being in a place that you'd love.
No, and that's awesome, man. I mean, I've already had a chance to listen to it, and I mean, I just hearing songs about kind of a small town and just growing up and doing that country stuff is really I love I just I mean everyone knows I'm a country boy at heart and I love songs like that. I actually have a new song in the works with my buddy Brian Goyette and it's just songs like that just really are what hit me in country music. I love stuff like that, and I just can't wait to dive into the song. So kind of without further ado, we're gonna take a little sneak peek of your new song, "Till Your Boots Are Dirty" by Seth Alexander.
You ain't country 'cause your four-wheel drive is the latest step aside. That's smoking hot, fresh off the lot. You ain't country 'cause the boots you're wearing shine up like a diamond earring. Don't mean a thing, at least not to me. Well, it don't work that way. Can't make that claim. You gotta earn that name. You ain't country till you bring that tip till you make moonshine tipping with something sweet down at the creek. You ain't country till you stop your truck, knee bed in the mudway, back in the sticks. That's how it is. Lay the bed and back up early. You ain't country now till your boots are dirty.
So that's a little sneak peek of "Till Your Boots Are Dirty." And I mean, it's always hard when I have to play it on my end because I want to sit there and jam out to it. But then, like I said earlier in the shows, if I start singing, then my windows will start cracking and all stuff like that, and I don't feel like cleaning that mess up today.
Well,
But
I'll tell you what, I heard you sing a little bit. So when I see you in Boston, you better be front row singing, man.
oh no, absolutely. Then I'll be singing my little heart out. Don't you worry. But I mean,
Windows.
but I mean, man, that's a great song. I love what, like I said, I love what you're doing in the music industry, and I just can't wait to see what other big things happen for you. And like I said, I'll be waiting for that alert on my phone saying Seth Alexander coming up to Boston. I'll be waiting for that one. So,
Got it.
but
Yeah.
other than that, man, again, just thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here. Real quick, kind of before I do my little outro and stuff, is where can we go find you on social media so people can go check you out?
Yeah, definitely. So I mainly operate off of Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and then I'm on all the DSPs streaming platforms. So that's where you can find me. My website is great. It's SethAlexanderOfficial.com. It has all of my music. It has my bio, everything about me. Any videos you want to see, like my Millionaire music video or Neon Bar. So that's where you can find me. But if I could add one quick little last thing, it would be, I appreciate everyone who checks me out. I love and adore all of you. Just giving me the chance and giving me, my voice means a lot to me. And just, I want you to know when you come out to my show, you're not just anyone. You're someone. You're family. So I can't wait to see you. Can't wait to meet you. And it's going to be a great year.
Awesome, man. I mean, I wish I could just close it out on that, but now I feel bad because I have to do my little outro and stuff. But I mean, that was a perfect way to just kind of end the show there. But again, man, just thank you so much for taking time out of your day, sit here, talk about your story, and to be on the podcast today. It truly means a lot.
Definitely, you are very welcome and honored and blessed to be on this show. And I can't wait to meet you in Boston.
Absolutely. So that kind of concludes another episode of the Spotlight series hosted by yours truly, ACK. You all know the drill at this point is Sundays, 1 p.m. Eastern. We got new music, new artists, new stories. Never know who's going to pop through. Slowly getting to that 100 episode mark. So y'all stay tuned for next week, and thanks for tuning in today.